My name is Michael Williams. I am a sophomore at the University of Central Florida, where I write for Night News, which is an independent online student-run media publication that covers the University of Central Florida and the Orlando area. So I'm here at ACP to accept the Associated Collegiate Press Freedom Award. This is an awesome award bestowed upon us by the great people at the SPLC. So what really piqued our attention was earlier this year, the Student Government Association held a meeting which the $18.6 million activity and service fee budget would be voted on. Now, this is a budget that is paid for by every student who attends the university. Last I checked, I believe that every student pays about $11 per credit hour toward the activity and service fee. So this is very much a public budget. This is very much the public's money. So during this meeting, usually students have the opportunity to go up in front of the Senate during an open forum and just basically express whatever they want to express, whether it be misgivings about the budget, misgivings about the Senate, concerns about pretty much anything that happens in the governmental process. Now, at this meeting, the Senate actually voted to not let the students speak. So basically the students had no say in how their $18.6 million budget was spent. So that's really what caught our attention at first. So we requested records pertaining to the activity and service fee to see exactly where all the money was going, basically. We requested the spreadsheets. At first, the school didn't respond at all, so that's when we filed our lawsuit. And of course, a couple of days after we filed the lawsuit, we get the activity and service fee budget, but it was all redacted. So names of student government officials involved with planning and distributing the budget were redacted, were blacked out, so we couldn't see. So obviously this presents a couple of different conflicts. First, we don't know whether there's a conflict of interest from the student government officials who are deciding where this budget is spent. Of course, also the big issue is that students actually had no say in how their money was being spent. No, I had no idea it would get to this point. I just thought SGA, of course, provides a service that we all need, which is giving students a democratic voice, within the legislative process within their school. So I thought there wouldn't be much controversy involved in it, but of course I was proven wrong. The culture at Night News is very, embracing of, students who want to practice journalism, students who want to practice, the original tenements of journalism, what it's originally meant for, curiosity, empathy, and compassion, and providing a voice for the voiceless, the marginalized, and oppressed. We do a lot of investigative stories. We're not owned by the university. We have no affiliation with the university, so we're able to actually cover the university. We're actually able to cover student government. We're actually able to report on the ins and outs of what happens there, without having any sort of governing authority trying to say that what we can or can't do. My advisor, Sean Lavin, is an awesome man. He loves molding the next generation of journalists. He loves, just the art of journalism and just practicing it at its truest form. So it's just a really great environment. I'm so glad to be a part of it. Just last month, after there was an explosion in New York City and the Chelsea neighborhood, fortunately nobody was killed. But the night it happened, I actually received a text message from Sean Lavin, our advisor, asking if we wanted to go cover it. So I just immediately jumped at the opportunity. I was on the first flight out from Orlando to New York City. As soon as I got there, I just hit the ground running. I originally attended, a couple of different press conferences that the governor gave. But then I just sort of decided that I wasn't going to find a story that wasn't already being covered by the mainstream media, pretty much where all the cameras were set up. So I just took a short walk around the block. I noticed some police officers and some firefighters stationed around a barricade line near the scene of the explosion. And then I noticed a Starbucks worker walk up to them with, coffee in one hand, some pastries in the other, just thanked them for their work and just, handed them coffee and pastries. And I ended up catching a video of it and has 20 million views on Facebook. So it's a lesson I learned from Night News, which is enterprise your own stories. Don't just hang around where you're most comfortable, which is probably going to be where all the other cameras are, but just go out and find your own stories to report on. Just keep on keeping on. That's the main piece of advice I have. You really feel isolated whenever you're reporting on student government because, you're supposed to be a watchdog, but of course, student government officials are going to take this the wrong way, and they're going to assume that you're being biased against them, when in reality you're just trying to do your job. You're just trying to do what a journalist is supposed to do. So I know I personally felt, kind of lonely. I was like, am I really doing the right thing? Am I really doing what I want to do? But, I guess the main point is that, students need to know this information, and, without a student journalist reporting on it, they would have no means of knowing. Yeah. So whenever I was first starting out, my journalism path, I heard records requests, and I was like, okay, that sounds kind of boring. But no, honestly, you learn some of the best information. You learn some of the most interesting information that you can ever learn by requesting public records. And it's really amazing, what some people who send emails amongst each other don't consider to be public records. They don't think that their emails are public records and that I can request them anytime and view them anytime. So it's, just from, just a curiosity standpoint, it's, really interesting to ask for public records. But public records are vital to journalism. To any story that you're ever going to do, you're going to need public records. So. Absolutely. Try to remain true to the core values of journalism: curiosity, empathy, compassion. Our job is to be a voice for the voiceless and the marginalized, and a beacon of hope for the oppressed. And really, today, whenever you look at the media landscape as a whole, you're not really seeing a whole lot of that. And, I really just wish that this generation could try to bring journalism back to what it's originally meant to do.
Excellent.